Hiya, welcome to Easy English. Today we're making a roast dinner. So a roast dinner, full roast, Sunday dinner or Sunday roast is an iconic British tradition. Now the most essential and common part of a roast dinner or Sunday roast are the meat and potatoes. Now the meat typically used on a roast dinner would be either beef, lamb, chicken or pork. Obviously this goes with the potatoes and is then accompanied by various vegetables and condiments to go with it. Now as I'm an idiot, I'm going to give you an idiot's guide to cooking a successful roast dinner, and there are two ingredients you need: preparation and timing. So on to the food ingredients. Now I'm going to cook for you a traditional English roast done vegetarian style. There shouldn't be much difference between a veggie roast and a meaty roast, but it'll be pretty obvious where you can exchange our veggie options for your meaty options. So, here's your ingredients.
Potato. Chicken alternative. Yorkshire pudding. Carrots. Swede or turnip. Sprouts. Sage and onion stuffing mix. Salt, garlic, rosemary and pepper. Soy sauce, Vegemite, honey, veggie broth and cream.
So if you're struggling to find some of these ingredients in your supermarket, don't worry, just find the nearest equivalent. I'd love to see how different the roast dinners can turn out in various countries when you don't have the correct ingredients. And anyway, we're doing a veggie roast, so it's not quite your traditional English roast dinner. So as I mentioned before, two things you need to have to make a good roast dinner are preparation and timing. So before anything even goes in the oven, you want to grab yourself a pen and a paper and write down all the ingredients you have and how long it would take to cook it all. Now typically the things that take the longest are your meat and your potatoes, because you need to boil the potatoes and then put them in the oven. So these always take a lot longer than you think, because I like to have my potatoes dead crispy. Done. Okay, so I think I have the timing down, But there are two other parts to the roast dinner that are really important, and the first is the gravy, and the second are your condiments. Now, what makes a typical English roast dinner so amazing is the fact that you use and keep all of the ingredients. So when we're preparing this, we're going to keep all of the peels, anything that sort of falls off that we cut away, we're going to keep it and use it and add it to make the sauce or the gravy. Now the second part that I didn't mention is that there are specific condiments for each type of meat, depending on what you use to make your roast dinner. So typically if you're cooking beef, you want to have a horseradish sauce. If you're cooking lamb, you want a mint sauce or mint jelly. If you're cooking pork, then you want applesauce. And if you're cooking chicken, then you want a red currant jelly. Now, what we're using as our meat is a chicken alternative, so I'm going to get some red currant jelly. Okay, so now that we've sorted out our timing, the next thing that's important is preparation. And preparation is basically peeling potatoes. So, as I mentioned, nothing gets wasted in a roast dinner. So we want one pot for potatoes, and then we want to put all the skins and peels into this jug, and then we'll do the same again for the carrot and the same again for the swede. Let's go. So as we were saying at the beginning, the meat and the potatoes are the most important part of a roast dinner, but there are a various amount of vegetables that you can or cannot use. One vegetable that we're not using that my mum is probably going to call out is we're not using any parsnips. Now, I hate parsnips, and that's why. Other things you can also use are, you can have a cauliflower cheese, cooked cauliflower baked in the oven with a cheesy sauce. People also like to have beans, or they also like to have broccoli with theirs, or even peas. Some people, who I think are crazy, even have baked beans. Gross. So it's also worth mentioning that the amount of ingredients we're using are for kind of 2 people, although the idea is to have lots of stuff left over to pick at the next day. And this, I hope, should take you about 2 hours maximum to cook, I say. I'm going to try and do it in 1.5. Some people even like to do the preparation in one day and then do the actual cooking part the next day, which is what we're going to do. Okay, that's all the potatoes peeled. The skins are all in the gravy jug. Keep that for later, remember? And now we just want to cut them up into bite-sized pieces. Potatoes are prepared. Set them to one side. So next up we're going to do the carrot and swede mash, and it's the same principle. All the shavings in the jug and the carrot and swede all chopped up into this pot. Let's go. Now, whilst I'm peeling my carrots, if you are an English learner or you just want to help support myself and Easy to continue making videos of me peeling carrots, then you can become an Easy English member with the link up here somewhere. Now, you can become an Easy English member for as little as €5 a month, and in return, we'll send you some language learning extras. For example, if you become a video member, then we'll send you a transcript, a vocabulary list, a worksheet, and audio and video downloads for all of our episodes, including this one. Or maybe you want to become a podcast member for our brand new podcast, in which we'll send you an interactive transcript. Now, this will translate our entire podcast into a variety of different languages to help you learn English. And we also, in the podcast membership, have our after show. Now, when the podcast ends, the after show begins. And this week, you'll get to hear myself and Easy talk about our preparations going into the festive Christmas period. So if you want to become an Easy English member, then go to easyenglish.video/memberships and help support Easy English today. Carrots peeled. So now, with the carrot and swede mash, you want to make it a 50-50 split with your carrots and your swede or turnip. So maybe half of this. I almost forgot to save the swede shavings. Okay, and then because we're making a mash, which is like a creamy baby food, basically. We're making baby food. So we're just gonna boil these together and then smush them together with a masher. In order for this to be really quick, we just want to cut these down to small, tiny pieces so that they can be cooked very quickly. Oops, there you go. There's your carrot and swede mash prepared. Okay, so all the hard work and preparation is basically done. So we'll see you tomorrow for cooking the roast. So we're back the next day. It's miserable outside, completely pissing it down, which is perfect weather for a roast dinner. I'm hungry. Easy? Are you hungry? Perfect conditions. So, what we want to do is get the oven to a nice hot temperature. 180 degrees is the only temperature everybody knows. So we've got our trusty list of ingredients and times. So I can see already that the potatoes need to get going. So first, boiling the potatoes. So one of the most important things again about roast dinner is preparation. So whilst we're waiting for the potatoes to get nice and soft, I've got this little oven dish and we're gonna make our stuffing. Now I should probably explain what stuffing even is. It's essentially just breadcrumbs, but you can get them seasoned, and this one is seasoned with sage and onion. There you go, that's what stuffing looks like before it goes into the oven to be baked. And like with all ingredients, we're going to take a little piece off the top and add it to our gravy. Okay, so while we're waiting for the potatoes to finish boiling, which you can check with a normal knife and just see if it passes through the potato nice and easily. Doesn't, still raw. What you can do is get a baking tray and line it with foil. And there we're going to put our roast, our meat, and our potatoes. And then we'll have another rack that will go underneath it, which will have our Yorkshire puddings and our stuffing. So the potatoes are done. They're nice and soft and the knife passes through with ease. The next thing we're going to do is strain it into the sink, and then I'm going to give you a nice tip on how to make your potatoes dead crispy. Ooh, save some of the water from the potatoes. Nothing goes to waste. You should have your potatoes in the pot. And what you want to do, put the lid on, and then you just want to give it 4 to 5 shakes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These potatoes look a bit fluffy, and that's where you're going to get your golden crispiness from. So now you want to scrape all those bits onto the rack, and we're going to season it next. Plenty of oil to make it crispy, some salt, pepper, garlic, and then some rosemary. So you can even add some butter to it, or if you are not a vegetarian, then add some duck fat to make them super crispy. I think the potatoes are ready to go into the oven. These probably take about an hour to be cooked, or an hour and 10, 15 if you want them really crispy. So I'm going to put them in before my roast goes in, which needs about an hour. Here we go. Now the clock is ticking. You can check your list for the timings to know when everything else needs to be prepared by, because your potatoes are now set. Now it's time to put in our roast. And whilst we're waiting for the next thing to go into the oven, let's make this gross concoction into more of a gravy. So now we're going to add a tablespoon of the soya cream, the Vegemite, the honey, and the soy sauce. Look how gross this looks. Ooh. Okay, we've come to the next part of the roast, which is our carrot and swede mash. And we're just gonna boil this down so it becomes really soft. Time for the stuffing to go into the oven to be roasted. We're into the final and crucial stages. This is where if anything's gonna go wrong, it's gonna be now. Everything's gonna be happening all at once because you want to fill your gravy up, you want to start mashing your carrot and swede, and then you want to put in your Yorkshire puddings and your sprouts. But luckily, we have our list, so we're not going to forget anything. I hope. Our frozen sprouts are going in the microwave, and our Yorkshire puddings are going in the oven. Wow! Bloody hell! Alright, so kettle is now boiled, and we're gonna just top up the rest of our gravy. Get all the flavours mushed together. Sprouts are done. Look at that, that's a good colour. Let's start mashing the carrot and swede. Bloody hell. Starting to look right and sound right. You get this gross suction noise. Okay, so it should look a little bit like that. Okay, so the timer's up. I was about 10-15 minutes later than I thought it would be, but it's not a bad prediction. Let's get everything out of the oven. There's the roast and the potatoes, our stuffing. There's your potatoes, the roast, the stuffing, Yorkshire puddings, carrot and swede mash, sprouts, and your gravy. Okay, so hopefully your roast looks a little bit like ours, and now it's time for the taste test. Easy! Okay, Izzy, you're here to be the taste tester.
Yes.
Are you excited?
Yeah, good job, isn't it?
Yeah, best bit of the whole episode. What do you think on first looks?
Gorgeous.
Yeah?
So good.
Some would say a bit beige.
It is a bit beige, but it's yummy beige.
Looks can be deceiving.
And there's green and orange, not only beige. I didn't have a roast in a long time, and this is gorgeous.
Okay, go for it. Let's let the people know how good it is.
I've got...
Happy?
Happy, do you want some?
Yeah. Crispy potato.
Thanks for watching this week's episode. If you enjoyed it and you're not a subscriber, then why don't you quickly subscribe below?
And if you really enjoyed it, why don't you become an Easy English member now and support us and our work? We would be really grateful.
And then we'll see you next week. Ta-ra! Now, I'm gonna cook this.